Hi guys. So this week we got asked how do you communicate to your dog that they did something that you didn't like, but they did it when you weren't there. So you'd left the house, you come back and they've done some destructive behaviour. Now, the person who asked the question, you definitely need to set up a behaviour consultation because the behaviour that your dog was displaying was very extreme. It was being destructive to the couch and sounded pretty extreme from the message I got. So you need to go find your nearest behaviour consultant and sort that out. But in general, how do you communicate if they did something when you weren't there? You don't. You need to just set up the environment so they can't fail. So what you'll get a lot is, oh no, they knew they were wrong because when I came back in the door they looked awful guilty. They're not looking guilty because they knew they emptied that bin, for example. They're looking guilty because when you walk in that door, you're giving off all these not so subtle signs, but dogs pick up on all the little subtle signs. But your shoulders are going to be up, you're going to have an ugly face, your tone, you've probably shouted at your dog. So they're just responding to the way that you're looking when you enter a room, thinking, oh God, what's going to happen? So you need to be really mindful of that. It's happened to all of us. It's happened to me. I'm never going to leave my dog in the room with the bin there that's full. It's all right, she's chasing you. Because he's going to fail. He's going to empty it. So instead, if I'm leaving him in that room, the bin is in a different room. For other cases, just people might be just leaving the house for a few hours. You put the dog in their area or their pen or their crate, give them a stuffed Kong in there. So there's no room for them to fail. That's pretty much it. There's no point in trying to reprimand your dog if you walked in and they had done something that you didn't want to do, because all you're doing is making them really unsure and really affecting your relationship. It actually happened to me a few years back now when I got Oscar. I adopted Oscar from a family when he was about 2, and he will be left in the kitchen here and work when I'm teaching classes. And I came in after a really long day, went into the kitchen, the bin was all over the place, and I walked in, and after such a long day, it must have been terrible. I was like, oh God, because then I had to clean up the kitchen before I left. Now, my reaction wasn't directed at Oscar, it was directed at myself. I was irritated by myself because I forgot to take the bin out, so I had caused that to happen. However, Oscar didn't know that. And what happened for about a week after, every time I walked into the kitchen, he'd go under the table and slouch down. So I felt terrible. I felt so guilty. So I literally had to go in and out of the kitchen and be feeding him and paying him with love and treats just to change that behaviour, because he took it to heart. He took it to heart so much. And that's probably because I had just adopted him and we hadn't built up this... actually, we had a pretty good relationship by then. But obviously he wasn't completely sold on me and wasn't completely trusting our relationship, that I would never do anything bad to him. But yeah, I hope that answers your question. And we'll see you next Thursday.